It's 8:30 on February 12th. I'll call the Carroll County Commissioners meeting to order. Does anyone have any additional items to add to the agenda this morning? On the work sessions, we need to talk about the Mountain View Nursing Home Annex. Representative Aldwin is expecting a report back for next week.
I sent him my personal response, Mr. Chairman.
You did?
Yes, and I said that I'm only speaking for myself, not for the committee, not for the board. And I told him I answered the questions that I could.
Okay, I'll open it.
I'm sorry. I didn't
Open it up for public input. Ed's the only one here from public input. Do you have anything, Ed? Okay, thank you. All right, then we'll move right into review of minutes last week. Which should be what, February
5th.
5th, okay.
Status on the table that no February 5th.
As you pointed out, Mr. Chairman, on page 3, it's Commissioner Babson, not Commissioner Sorensen on reports.
On which?
Under reports.
In the reports, it's, yeah, Babson. And also on page,
Well, wait a minute. What, you read the letter from the Blackman family?
yes, he did.
I thought you read it.
No, I didn't.
No, I did. I read
No,
it.
Babson did. Also on page 4 of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs up, after the commissioners mark them up, the reports go back for approval to the department heads. I think you said 2.
Yeah, I have the reports
go back.
will go back to.
Will go back, okay. And also, the second paragraph up, I don't know what the correct figure is, but last year the county printed 160 reports, but only mailed out 22. I'm not sure that that's correct. I don't know where that 22 figure came from.
Okay.
Because I know we send 15 out to the delegation, 18 out, 1 to each town, so that's 18, 1 to the state library, 3 commissioners, and we should also have department heads there, so.
So last year, the county printed 160 reports and had many left over?
I think they printed 100, 165.
We did 160, but
And we had a lot left over.
we had a lot left over, yeah, let's put it that way.
Okay. Okay.
For you picked those up? I missed that.
Let's see, at the top of page 5, account of one attorney who is listed, isn't it, was rather than as employed?
No, who is listed as employed by the county, but has in fact resigned. We can restate it, but it's not.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. We did say, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs up from page 5. He suggested, I guess it was me that suggested that they reduced the number to 75 paper copies. After looking at that, this week, I think we need to increase it up to 125.
I thought we had to.
No. So we need to increase that up to 125 copies rather than 160.
Okay.
Do you have any corrections?
No,
You don't have any?
no, I got nothing, you know, just,
Okay.
that was 125, and that's it, I guess, yeah. I'll make a motion, we accept
Do you
the
have
minutes
a-
of,
Yeah, one
Do you have
second.
any corrections?
Yes, I have, but I don't have the copy. I don't get a paper minutes, the copy. There's nothing there. You said you had
No.
that February 5th?
here's an extra copy, I found mine in my note.
Okay.
So why don't we just table them for a few minutes while
All right, we'll table those
Ashley
for a
has
few
a chance
minutes.
to get caught up on those.
So is it this one? Is January, are we talking about January 8th?
Well,
February
I'm
5th.
sorry, February 8th, what did
Yeah,
I
I
give you?
don't-
January 8th, I'm sorry, Asha.
You don't have February?
Do you
No,
have that?
No.
Is there February, because I just checked when I came in and let's see, is this February there?
February 5th,
Yeah, I don't have any.
last week's minutes.
No, I didn't get the, I didn't
None
get,
put on your desk?
no, didn't see any. Well, I didn't get any from February.
Okay.
I can go down and get one downstairs.
All right, we'll table them for the time being.
Okay.
Under review of minutes, and does anyone have any reports to make, any meetings they went to, or items they want to report on? Well,
The only meeting that I went to was the New Hampshire Association of Counties,
yeah,
the Commissioners' Council. That was, I believe, last Friday.
all three of us
That's the
went.
only one.
Yeah.
You
Go ahead.
have one, or? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I got one. I spent about 2 hours yesterday with Jason 1 and Jason 2 over at the jail and the U.S. Marshal discussing taking in federal prisoners. Other than the Marshal didn't look like he'd been out of high school more than 24 hours. It was a very, and he'd been a Marshal for 10 years, I couldn't believe it. We had a very, very nice discussion. Part of the bad publicity that the program gets is because Stratford County takes a whole bunch of inmates from the bottom of the top of the bad spectrum all the way down, so they have some problems. Jamie assured us that any problems, they'd come in here and yank them out of here right away. I had that whole list of questions that I made up for Fowler and never got an answer on, Captain Fowler, we never got an answer. So I went down over those with them. They pay all the medical expenses, they pay, there's a formula that comes with their packet that from which the financial officer here has to fill out, and then it goes to Washington and they decide what they'll pay us a day, which is somewhere in the range of, give or take, $85 a day. If they have to go to the hospital, they pay $29 an hour, roughly, on any transport. I can't remember all the questions we discussed, but in the end, you have to fill out the forms and get an account online with the marshal's office before you can begin this process. So that's where we left it. Jason's going to fill out the information to open up an account so we can get the forms to.
Do they
to
have
fill out.
a limitation that we have to guarantee so many cells?
No,
No.
we can, on the form, we can put down how many we want, 3 or 3 women, 2 men, 5 women, whatever it is you want to have. If the portrayal of the program was accurate, and I have every reason to believe that it was, they're very accommodating. They don't put up with any baloney from any of the inmates. They yank them right out of here. He said they get it from here down to Essex County, Massachusetts, where they're down there a few days and they all want to come back. I was very impressed, and I think it could work. They recommend you start off with 1 or 2 prisoners because there's a lot of financial stuff that goes along with it, billing, where it goes, how it gets billed. So anyway, at the end of this thing, we came away, we're going to fill out the forms to begin the application. And if you fill out the application and take it and pass, that doesn't mean you have to take any inmates. But you have to have it all done. They come in and do an inspection. Jamie said he'd been around our facility long enough. He said there's nothing in here that will prevent you from passing. So it was very positive.
Okay, I attended the IT committee meeting last week. We talked about what's the mission of the IT committee. And that those in attendance were represented, I believe, from all departments. There's not one that I can think of that was not there. Can you? We're not?
The business office didn't have anyone there, but I figured we would encompass them within the
Right.
building.
Right, okay. We talked about a long-range plan. We talked about a 5-year plan. Representative Goodell was there, and he said that he had talked with Lakes Region. They would provide some training for us. And it was recommended that we put all of the IT budget information into one county budget. And we will do that this year, just for information purposes only, to show what the total is, what's allocated to each department, what's contracts and what's not. So we'll try to have that put together. We were given an update on inventory. And each year for the next, the contract runs through March of
Next year.
2015, at which time we'll put it out for bid. And the IT committee will become more important as far as any dealings with information technology. It'll go through that committee, and they would recommend to the commissioners what should be done. We talked about fiber optics, where we could save a lot of money if we had fiber optics connecting all our buildings. Right now, there's one from the old nursing home to the new nursing home. We need to get it from the new nursing home to here, and then from the new nursing home all the way down to the jail. They're talking about the wire costing about $1 a foot. But the major cost, I guess, is digging the trench and putting the conduit in that would take that wire. It was suggested that we proceed with that for next year's budget, that we get some figures and get that in the works, because we could tie in our telephone, our computers. That would reduce our costs by quite a bit. So it's something that we really need to look at in the budget. Annette, would you want to fill in on anything else we may have talked about?
No, that really covered quite a bit of it, and that we would continue to have another user group that talked more about the training needs, as you mentioned, to what people actually need to do their jobs better. But I think the big piece was having the fiber optic that would connect all of the buildings, so we could have an intranet and be able to increase the communication quite effectively throughout the entire campus, as well as reducing costs for a lot of the other things that was discussed. But I think it was a very productive meeting, and I think everybody walked away with a very good feeling. We'll meet every other month, not every month. to go over what has come up and what some of the recommendations are from the committee.
The question came up about if it's already approved in our budget, the department head said, if it's already approved in our budget, do we have to go back to the IT committee? Which is a good question, which we don't want to micromanage. As long as it's in detail in their budget, I'd have no problems, and hopefully we could get the product cheaper than what they budgeted for, but that was one question. The other item was that it would be put into the commissioner's budget, the IT portion of it, taking it out
Put it in maintenance and put it in.
like maintenance, but in our budget.
Right.
So basically, that was it. It was a good meeting, good attendance, good participation. There are things that we're going to look for, like what the countywide policies are for the next meeting. We do have some as far as the use of computers and so forth. And I forget what else was on the agenda for the next meeting. That was one of them. Oh, the school, I guess, the training.
Yeah,
We'll look
doing
into
having them
that some
come
more.
in. Representative Cordelli had mentioned that they would come in and do a needs assessment for all of the departments.
Right,
So we're going to see if we can get that rolling.
right. Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I have one concern with the IT committee. I think everybody on this campus knows what their equipment is and what they've got to do with it. But is there anybody on this committee that's, except maybe Glenn, that really has any understanding of IT components? And why aren't we
I think we talked about
seeking, why aren't we seeking some help from outside? I know the young man from that handles the IT department at Brewster. He's got 3 or 4 people working on it. He volunteered to be on it, and I think we need to get some outside help for people that understand it. I mean, maybe a committee made up of you and me and Asher probably doesn't have a lot of IT knowledge.
I think the total committee didn't have a lot of IT knowledge,
And I think
except
we
for
ought
what
to-
you said, you know what they've got. Why don't we add,
There must be an IT person at the hospital. There's got to be 2 or 3 IT people around that might volunteer to help us out on
The-
a once-a-month meeting.
the person from Brewster Academy? They volunteered to help?
Yeah,
Okay, then we need to
Well,
probably,
and that's what we talked about, was having invited guests come in at times for, as a participant,
Mhm.
as a participant in the meetings, but be the invited guests when we had those topics to work on. In the beginning, we had to get together to find out, okay, our regrouping and how and where we're going to move forward with this. John Rich from Cybertron was at the first one because he was providing us with what his plan was and with the inventory, which we asked him to do, which is
Right.
very necessary for the group to be able to figure what direction we're going and what needs to be done. I think one of the major components was talking about the fiber optics connecting all of us.
Yeah.
So those are some of the big ticket items, as well as the big, for the future items that we did talk about. But having some other people who have a knowledge, like someone from Brewster, having Representative Cordelli here, absolutely, we could have them as invited guests to be another set of eyes and ears as to
Mhm.
other things that could be done. So definitely, but we had to have our kind of groundbreaking meeting to get back on track as to what the committee's mission is and what the commissioners want to see from the committee,
Mhm.
which we did talk about.
another person you might contact, regardless of his problems with the law, is the gentleman that Melissa Siemens had up for the meeting at,
oh, from Stratford County.
yes.
Rogers?
Smith, I think his name was.
You're right, Roger Smith, I think. it was.
Roger Smith.
Yeah.
And he's had some problem, but he's still extremely knowledgeable. And
Mhm.
set up their whole department down in Stratford County. And these are the type of people we need on the committee, I think. Everybody knows how to run their own computer.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Any other reports to be given? Have you had a chance to read the minutes or not?
Yeah, no.
No? Okay.
I'm listening.
Then the next item would be our work session. I have copies, and you should have received copies. Oh, yeah. I got a note this morning. From a person he's president of Hales Location. And he wants us to contact him. He wants to talk to us about elementary school tuition, which has been raised to $50,000 per student. I believe it was somewhere down around
32. wasn't it?
32,
32.
but that could have been for high school, and it could have been lower for elementary. But if the school district in Conway feels that we're going to be paying $50,000 for an elementary student that attends school, we may be doing a little research and finding out a little more about that before we pay that bill.
I just want to recommend if you're doing Hill's location with a selectman from Hill's location, because that is it.
Now, he's
May-
president?
Yeah, but we answering that maybe we should put Hill's location separate on the agenda, because now you do it
Well,
in the commissioners meeting and in between. Maybe we should put Hill's location, then selectmen,
I
and we
know.
put up our different head, and then we
Yep.
handle.
I just got this morning,
We just
so,
handle Hill's location a
Yep.
little bit separate. It's getting a little bit confusing now, that in between. So commissioners and auxiliary selectmen and answering Hill's locations issues.
okay, let's, annual reports, let's look at our annual report, Commissioner's annual report. Okay, I got it right here. You should have a copy of it, everybody?
Yeah, let me see, is this? I've got one on my desk, I guess. No, it's not. This is it.
You
I-
got 2 pages to that, right? Oh, you got it front and back, okay, I got
Oh, you
two,
got-
okay.
It's the same
David?
thing, I
Yep.
guess.
I was just doing the quick math, and that's around $300 a day for a student at elementary school. 300 times 180,
Is this the note from Hills?
yeah, it's about $277 a day per student up there. And we're doing, which one do you want, Mr. Chairman?
Let's do the Commissioner's annual report, the draft, which is typed up and given to everybody.
Yeah.
I've read it through a couple of times. Do we have any changes to make?
I just want to say, I received the email from Winette. She said she talked to you,
Yep.
that she's going to rewrite the commissioner's reports. I just want to know when the vote was taken, that she can do that. She cannot just talk to one commissioner decide what is going to be about all three commissioners' annual reports. Can you
This
tell
is
me?
only a draft.
But it doesn't matter. She talked only to you. The employees need to talk to the board.
Yeah.
One commissioner cannot give any direction. That's against the law.
Okay, well, we're here now, Commissioner Kenney. We can discuss it and make everybody happy. What would you like to do?
It's not, you're here, employees cannot do that. Ask one commissioner and one commissioner is making decision. because now a decision is made and she rewrite the whole thing.
Well, do you agree with it or don't you agree with it?
No, I don't agree with it.
You don't
I
agree with
know.
what was written in the commissioner's report?
No,
What don't you agree with?
I don't agree with the whole report. I think it is poorly done.
Well, let's start at the top and go down and find out what would improve it, Commissioner.
Everything, I
Well, let's
think.
start with the first paragraph. What would you like to change?
I don't think we should use this report. I think the three commissioners, we had input, we had the report, and we should put in what we had.
Well, this is gonna be the commissioner's report
That's
from the
fine,
board.
you two can go with it, and just note me that I disagree with it. Let's just note it that I'm disagree with it. That is the two
Okay.
commissioners' report.
Okay, you,
The two commissioners' report done by an employee. Okay.
no, it wasn't. It wasn't
Yes.
done at all.
Yes.
I wrote mine up, Commissioner Babson wrote his up, you wrote
I
yours up.
wrote mine and nothing is from me in, but I expected that, so.
Well, yours was all one-sided.
Not really. The truth was there.
I think this is general, it covers a lot of different areas. There's no mention that we found this or we did that. This is what happened in the year 2013. We
That
try to
is-
give credit where credit was due.
That is your opinion, what happened. Okay.
You,
Uh,
are you saying that that things in here did not happen? Would you point out which items did not happen?
I said it is your opinion.
No, I'm asking you, you don't agree with the report, so what don't you agree with?
Like, I don't like how it is written up, the report.
How what?
So, how it is written up.
How would you like to have it written up?
Didn't I already had mine? I already had mine and I put one in and that's it. And I don't agree that an employee is going to fix it. I mean, I never give any permission. And there is something in that.
You have any corrections to this, Commissioner Babson?
No, I don't. I think we should do just what Commissioner Kenney asked, and we can accept this report, and we'll just add the last sentence, will be Commissioner's annual report was not accepted by Commissioner Kenney.
Okay. Do we want to have a motion to do this? This is our report.
Yep.
Um,
No harm done.
I'd make a motion that we accept the draft of the Commissioner's annual report for 2013, and that we add a sentence at the end that, how do we want to make that?
Commissioner's annual report was not accepted by Commissioner Kenney. Was not approved by Kenney, it was not accepted is a better word.
Which, what, you want approved or not
Not
accepted?
accept. Commissioner's annual report was not accepted by Commissioner Kenney.
Is that a second?
I'd second it. Okay, you second it?
Who made the motion?
I made the
Who's on
motion.
first here?
I made a
And
motion.
what
Okay,
is
I
the
second
motion?
The motion is that we accept the Commissioner's
Oh.
annual report for 2013 with the addition of one sentence at the end, and it'd be signed by two commissioners. All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. Opposed, okay. Okay, the next report, I believe, was Cooperative Extension. They revised their report.
I'm not sure I've got the revised one, Dave.
I know it came in, I know I had it.
Is this Is this it? If it isn't, it isn't much shorter than,
No, it's not. It's only 2 pages.
Oh, okay. I may have to take a break on this one. Oh, here it is here. I got it. That's what it looks like.
Yep, yep. I had no problems with it. Do you have any corrections or anything to
Well,
add or
I haven't
subtract?
read it, I can't have any corrections, but I don't think it's our position should be to correct the content.
No.
If there's a grammatical error or a typo that we find, then fine, but
Yep,
I would assume we'd accept all of them as written.
okay. Was there another one from the Department of Corrections?
The
we
sheriff's
did.
department was, I think, the only one that was gonna rewrite.
The sheriff, right? The only change to the Department of Corrections was that we added that there was a turnover rate of 17.
It was what?
A turnover rate of correctional officers was 17 for 2013. Okay, that said, we got one bid in to do the annual report. It was supposed to be due in yesterday, and to open up the bids this morning.
It's only one.
So we only got one, and it's from the Minuteman Press.
Didn't we have them last year?
We had two last year.
Was it the same company? But the annual report, was it done by the Mint? I think it was done by the Mint.
I don't know who it was done by. I don't remember.
I think it was Minuteman.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure. I think it was.
Okay, the annual report, 76-page with cover, total $570.02.
For how
Well-
many again?
Doesn't say.
We did
Is to produce a
total.
Carroll County annual report consisting of a folded and stapled booklet, size 5.5 by 8.5 with 76 pages plus cover. Cover will be printed in black ink on one side only on 80-pound colored cover stock. The inside pages will be printed in black ink on 60-pound opaque. Setup for the report is included in this quote, customer to supply all reports digitally, and with the exception of the financial reports, which will be resized to fit the 5.5, 8.5 page size. Each additional signature, 4 pages, will increase the cost by $25.
Each additional.
So
page.
$570, I believe it was like 800 other years, but,
Are they in Rochester?
no.
Where we got, they moved up. Yeah, wasn't this
No,
the one
they're
move
up
up to North Conway,
they're
up
up in
there
North
next to the gun
Conway.
shop? Aren't they the ones that
Yes.
did it?
Yep. I don't know if they did it, independent, was it Granite State something?
Independent Press did it a couple of years
Independent
before, but
Press
they-
always puts in a bid, but they apparently didn't this time. Do I hear, well, go ahead, finish reading it.
Each additional signature, 4 pages will increase the cost by, wow.
In other words, it's a 4-page. If they have to add one,
Was $25?
it's
Yeah,
a,
that's
it's
what
a
I say, Asha.
full page, 4 sides.
Yeah, about $25. It
25.
won't take time to set it up, but
So
That's why we want to keep our reports.
we make.
and they were due today, yesterday?
They were due yesterday. Yep.
Can I make a motion that we table this for a week to see if anybody else comes in? And somebody might have mailed them. I
only-
don't know what the legal.
Only if it's dated yesterday.
That's what I
Otherwise, we're giving out information that
That's what I mean.
others would bid lower or higher, whatever.
can't believe there's aren't other print shops that would like to bid.
There are a lot of print shops around.
Well,
Where did we advertise?
Where did he put it out to bid?
it was put out to bid at least 2 weeks ago.
But where?
It went to people who bid on it previously, and was put on the website, and I believe put in the paper.
Well, it depends on what paper it went into. If it went into the Conway Daily Sun, the Minuteman Press was probably the only one saw it.
Well, yeah, but I think, we can check with Cheryl, but I think Cheryl mailed it to, the Carroll County Independent Press, or whatever they call it.
And frankly, you know, we put them up on the website, and in my opinion, that's more or less to cover our butts, because I don't think there's a lot of people in business that get up in the morning and say, let's go to the Carroll County website and see what they got out for bid. It's, we should be using you know, somebody like this one where there's a lot of business. We should have been using Foster's or wherever we can go out and get more coverage, because the people just aren't. They don't come looking at town county web pages and town web pages to see what's going on for the day.
I was told that this bid was hand-delivered. It wasn't mailed.
Hand delivered?
You want to wait till the end of the day, or the end of our
Yes.
meeting, to see if something else comes in?
Yes,
Okay.
as long as it's
So
predated.
today is the due date. Is today the due date?
Yesterday was the due date.
So how do you want to wait till the end of the meeting?
In case something was mailed in, if it's postmarked yesterday, it should have been here yesterday. According to the bid specifications that went out. It was due in our office yesterday,
Maybe we should ask.
and that was
the-
hand-delivered to get it here in time, apparently.
Maybe we should ask the office if they to see if any.
Oh, that was,
What's that?
I didn't mean to interrupt, Asha. I thought you meant somebody took the bid out to Minuteman Press. You mean Minuteman Press brought it down here?
Minuteman Press brought it down
Okay.
on the 10th. And it was due to our office yesterday.
Okay.
Okay,
So what would be so the only one that we will accept at this point is one that's postmarked, was it due in our office or postmarked?
due in our office yesterday, so we could open the bids this morning. It was stipulated that we'd be opening them up today, not this morning.
Is that the usual procedure, David?
Yeah.
It isn't postmarked such and such a date, postmarked before, postmarked February 10th?
We can wait and find out if anything else comes in this morning's mail, and we'll see when it was dated, okay?
Okay.
All right. 9:15, was that for the jail? Jason? Non-public?
It seems that it's non-public.
I guess the employee that was supposed to show up is not gonna be able to make it today. I was not aware of the meeting until yesterday afternoon, so,
I didn't get the notice either until this morning that the person cannot come today, but would come next week.
okay.
Is that the purpose for you being here? Or you got other business?
No, I was just gonna stop in during the work session because I thought we were gonna just discuss our meeting with the marshals yesterday. Have you already done a report on
Commissioner
that?
Babson did,
I reported, but while they're here, they were the ones that were at the meeting.
Yeah, if you wanna-
Find out from the people that know, not just, I don't know.
come on up and tell us what happened. And what the plans are.
Okay.
You want to-
It's yours.
Oh, I didn't take it yesterday?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
So we had a meeting yesterday with Deputy Marshal. They came in, or he came in, talked about the process moving forward. He gave us the web address to start to register with the Department of Justice.
reached out to the Department of Justice this morning on the website, established that. That process in of itself takes some time. I'm going to follow up with a telephone call later this morning. And then there's an 11-page document that I'll have to do with Kathy downstairs. He recommended that we use the finance director to help do that process, because all of it's related to finance. With that, then that gets submitted to Washington. Then we negotiate a rate. We're thinking about starting off with a small population to work out the bugs, billing and things of that nature. One of the big things that I took away is if we contract with them to hold 4 people, then we're not guaranteed to keep 4 people in custody at all times. It's just depending on whether the federal judiciary is holding people in custody or not. He mentioned
At one point in time, way back, they required that we have available so many cells, whatever cells we say, that would be available at any point in time so that we could not fill those cells. I don't think we got that problem right now, but is that still true?
no.
No.
I
Okay.
told him I didn't get that impression yesterday, Jay, that all we had to do was tell them that we'd like 3 women or 2 men, but we had no guarantee that we were
Either way,
space.
if we're full, we don't have space, I was gonna tell them we don't have space, and they move on to the next facility that might have space.
Okay, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And then, again, they'll establish a rate, and again, if they, what the deputy reported was that a few years ago, the New Hampshire jurisdiction had over 200 offenders in custody. Now they're down to about 79, and they spread those offenders out throughout the state. So we may say, like I said, we can hold 4, but they may not have 4 to give us. We can also expand and start bringing in offenders out of the state of Maine, because if they need bed space over there and New Hampshire doesn't have anybody to keep in custody,
Yeah.
then we can get some offenders.
This
from-
is through that U.S. Marshal?
Correct. Right,
go to
he'll
Maine?
reach out to the Maine Marshal Service, and then if they have anybody in population that they need bed space for, then they can house them in our state. But overall, I think it was a very positive meeting, and then we'll just start the process and move forward on it.
Mhm.
I told him that I didn't think Jamie looked like he'd been out of high school more than 24 hours. But he'd been a marshal for 10 years.
Mhm. Yeah.
I wrote, when this first came up, we get the original brochure, I wrote a bunch of questions that we were all asked to write for Mr. Fowler. And I wrote them, and would you like me to read down the list and how he answered them?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, the first one, what was BOP? What does BOP stand for or refer? And that's the Bureau of Prisons. Do we have a choice of the type of detainee which we will receive? Do we have a choice of the sex of the offender? And both of those answers were yes.
Mhm.
Does our facility meet all the requirements of the federal department standards? Do we have to meet them all? Are there waivers available? I have no here, but I thought he said there are waivers available for certain.
If you need anybody, so we meet the criteria, we have everything we need.
Oh, okay. It appears that there are instances where we could be liable for some big medical bills. Am I reading this correctly? We pay all the facility medical costs, and they pay for outside medical costs?
This is at our discretion. I mean, if the person is sick, we just automatically send them and they automatically pay? They don't have to approve the person going out?
I get to that question. This one was more or less, are they gonna pay the medical expenses if they're in the prison or out of the prison?
Okay.
The answer to that was, we pay for aspirin,
Over-the-counter.
Over-the-counter
stuff. They pay for everything else.
Mhm.
Does our facility meet all the U.S. Marshal security standards? The answer was yes. It states that we must notify the USMS if we would like to rid ourselves of an individual, and then they have to have up to 120 days to remove the individual. So a problem child we might have to keep as long as 120 days. Jim's answer was, he promises a quick bus ride out of here. And at 72 hours
Yeah, they-
was the maximum. What happens, here it is, David, what happens in a medical emergency and the USMS does not agree with our decision to go to the hospital? His answer was, it's not a problem, you take them to the hospital and worry about it later. He said, a bill is better than a dead prisoner financially.
So do we pay and they reimburse us, or did they pay up front?
All the bills will go directly to them.
Okay.
Do our medical standards meet the USMS standards? Jim's answer was, yes, they do. Do we receive per diem while we issue up to 7 days of drugs when an individual is removed? We don't get the per diem, and he said usually they take their own drugs with them when they leave. Wasn't that what he said?
Yes.
He said usually they get backup, so. Who pays the copay? The copay is paid by the inmate, and it's $3 a prescription.
He was gonna look into, because the Department of Justice will be paying that entire thing, so he was gonna be looking into whether we should waive the copays for the federal offenders or not,
Because they pay the whole bill.
because they pay the whole bill.
Who pays the bedside guards when a person is hospitalized? The marshals do, and then it's paid at the overtime rate, so you don't get stuck.
So we do,
They
the
do.
marshals do.
They do,
Mhm.
and they pay at the overtime rate,
Plus mileage.
plus
Yeah.
mileage over and back.
Yeah.
Will we know the per diem rate before we take on a prisoner? I would think so, and the answer to that is yes. If we not accepted into the, oh no, I asked, the pages 5 through 10 are gonna take somebody some time to fill out. If we get reimbursed for that person's time, if we fill them out and don't get accepted, the answer was no. Do we have to accommodate visiting hours for federal prisoners, or must they adjust to our visiting hours? They have to adjust to our visiting hours. In the case of transport to a dentist, doctor, hospital, who covers the cost of the driver, CO, in the car? I get my note here, is we get covered for babysitting plus gas. Special food was a subject we brought up because we'd heard about it. It wasn't one of my questions. And the answer was, I have just the usual, so there's no,
If it becomes a problem, then we just give them a call, and then they'll either work with us or put the person in a place that can accommodate. If we can't accommodate the needs, then they'll make arrangements to house the offender in an area that can.
Do all their prisoners speak English, understand English? Do we have to have an interpreter or any of that?
It depends. If you start getting into ice holds, then you run into the highly more likely that you'll get offenders that can't speak English. But we're not looking at entertaining ice holds at this point. I'm looking at just U.S. Marshal holds.
I forgot to say that. We asked him if we could just sign up for marshal holds and not ice holds, and they said yes. So that eliminates the big possibility of having to have a translator.
And we have control of who we take. If it's somebody that needs an interpreter and we can't do it, we just say, no, we can't take them.
Okay.
They also, when send somebody that has huge medical issues or other problems, there's other facilities that already deal with that. We would do. So we have control of who we're taking in or not. If they come a problem, we just call them up. This is not working out. Okay.
With the federal prison up in Berlin going to open up more cells and hire more people, would that mean that we're not going to get anybody?
No, because all the marshal holds are all pretrial. They're all pretrial detainees,
Oh,
and awaiting
so the federal
sentencing.
prison are all trial, all?
They're all sentenced, that's
sentenced.
all sentenced because it's operated by the Bureau of Prisons. And we may get a person that is sentenced, however, waiting transportation. Because the federal system has certain units that are their reception and diagnostic units, which that offender will go to first before, and get classified and then sent out.
So if they're waiting trial, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, again, they do the transporting, or do we do the transporting?
We can do the transports.
They reimburse us all.
They
at
reimburse us.
the time and a half and mileage, so it's nothing out of our pocket per se. They take care of it.
Correct. Yep.
Cheryl? The question came up, where was that advertised, or how did,
It's all.
it's all on there?
It's all right there. I put in the proofs, I put copies of the proofs and what papers and what days it was in.
Conway Daily
Okay.
Sun and the
All right.
Independent.
Thank you.
Is there any other mail came in today?
Oh.
She's gone.
It had to be here, it even states in the RFP that it had to be here by yesterday.
Has to be in here?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
says it right in the RFP.
Okay. Sorry. So you're filling out the paperwork.
Yes.
And what would be your proposal? How many inmates to take? Male, female?
Well, what they suggested is we start off with just a couple,
Mhm.
again, to start working out the,
Bugs.
the bugs for billing and things of that nature. Make sure we're gonna be able to accommodate them, and they work well with us.
Did they have to be held separately from our inmates?
No.
And they have a dedicated person too, also deals with the billing, which will contact our billing and then work hand in hand. So they have some dedicated stuff to make transition pretty easy.
Mhm.
But that does bring up an interesting subject, David, what do you call it? Not the Prius, it's the car I drive,
Priya.
Pretty standard.
Priya. Prius standards,
Prius
yeah.
standards, that's become a real problem for them also,
Mm-hmm.
keeping juvenile offenders from sight and sound, and as they say, can't do it in Carroll County. They're making all kinds of exceptions, I guess, because nobody can do it.
And what he had mentioned yesterday was DC's aware of the situation that is within the state. It's not just our facility, but any county facility for that matter, in regards to sight and sound separation with the 17, 18-year-old, or the 17-year-old population.
So we wouldn't take them?
What's that?
If they were a federal prisoner, we wouldn't take them?
The federal law is a 17-year-old's a juvenile, so we wouldn't get that. But the only thing that he suggested is if that we have a 17-year-old person in custody, we just do not house them with a federal offender in the same cell. I mean, in the same day room, just not the same cell.
Yeah, that's what he said,
Mhm.
that's right.
So it seems to, right now, it's moving forward.
Okay.
And then we'll negotiate a rate for both the details and the housing on a daily basis.
Yeah. Did you figure out the daily rate for
Representative Algren?
well, yeah, I was thinking of Representative Schmidt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, last year it was $118 a day, but if I took the actual amount that we spent, it was $105.
So that might be the figure that you give to the U.S. Marshal for the rate?
No, this form is 5 pages of financial information that has
Right.
to be filled out that they calculate the daily rate on.
Right.
Oh,
Right. And then we can negotiate. What Deputy Barry said was that this area, going around $85 a day. Vermont is paying higher. Vermont and Massachusetts is paying higher. But the going rate for this general area is about $80 to $85 a day.
okay.
He said, put in for 90 though.
And the only other thing is, do you want to have, was it discussed today about having the offender come over and do?
That was on the work session, but let's talk about that now.
Okay.
David, do you have those pictures on your smartphone?
I do, but my phone's in my office.
So the phone isn't so smart, it stayed over there.
Or I'm smart by leaving it there.
How about you, Jay? You got one? Can you pictures?
Yeah, my phone in the office too.
That's good. Are they talking to each other?
This sounds like a policy.
So what are we gonna be talking about?
Anyway, if you two haven't been over to the jail, they've got two young men over there that have really
Artistic.
good artistic abilities, and they've painted the seals on the walls over there, and they really are good. And my thought was, and there's maybe instead of the picture, put it here, have them paint one here before he leaves. The other thing was, Ann Ayton came in with a big map of the county property. She's trying to chase down the Ossipee tax situation. And she said, well, this would be lovely to frame and put up on the wall. And I'm thinking, well, we get these artists over there. Maybe we could project it onto the wall and paint it here so that the delegation has it, whenever they look up, they know what they're looking at. And they want to have a timber cut, it's there on the map. I'm a little shaky on that one, but the seal would look really nice. They've done an amazing job.
You don't like our seal? You don't like it the way it's done?
His is painted on the wall and looks better than that. And it doesn't have the aluminum frame around it.
Okay.
And we're good to go with the paints and everything else. If it's something
If
you
you-
guys
if you're
approve, that we
interested.
can start anytime. So, 'cause the offender only has,
How long, they're gonna be in for a while?
No, he's only has a couple of more weeks. He's out in 14 days.
but it only takes him 3 days to get it
No
done.
problem, we're only painting the top half of the loom, so we won't lose any time there.
And hopefully, tomorrow, in the paper, you'll see a
Right.
positive article coming out. Melissa came over and took pictures of the offenders, painting those. We
Oh,
put a
good.
tree in there and went over all our programs that are going on over there, programs that were for the
Who-
future.
Who did that?
Melissa?
Melissa?
Oh, Melissa did?
Yeah.
Good.
But I don't think the picture in the paper is gonna look anywhere as nice as
No.
seeing it on the wall.
The pictures are really, it's. the-
This is in
They've
the
done a
day
beautiful
room?
job.
Where they painted or in the hallways?
They did the classroom, the old visiting
Or in the
room,
classroom?
and then they just did it in the lobby,
Oh, in the lobby?
in the public lobby.
And he mixes his own colors, which is really pretty.
Hmm.
Really good job.
He's a tattoo artist. He's told me do it on your chest for a cut rate if you want.
Did you get a
After
discount?
12 years here.
Yeah, right. Can't wait.
They really are. They're worth going over to look at. They've done an amazing job. The other one is painted a tree and leaves, and as they go through their courses, they're gonna put words on
They're,
the-
yeah,
on
they're
the
inspirational.
leaves,
As a,
inspirational words on the
as a
leaves.
group, they're gonna come up with
They've really
a
done a nice
motivational
job.
word and stencil that out on one of the leaves.
So you got two visitors over there that have that capability?
Mhm.
Huh.
Yeah, the trees need, there's mountains, there's a lake, Old Man and Mountains on there a little bit, if you look, he's painting in.
Yeah.
The leaves should be plenty of, it's all for thinking of change at the end. The group can come up with their own name and a positive that they want to put in the leaf, so there's so many leaves, I mean, a lot of classes can be hopefully filled up over the years
Mhm.
about positive stuff that they get to look at.
Huh. Great. Great.
You've also had some discussion over the food situation. You might want to tell the rest of the board about.
The,
Any better meals?
Oh,
the, yeah.
you got a garden committee, I hear?
Right, that's what we're working on. Sergeant Perry, Corporal Loud, and Rob have met a few times, and most recently this past Friday, they brought Will in, and they're talking about what the kitchen can use and what Will can grow out on the farm. And then the hope was to send them up to Grafton when they do their seed committee So I reached out to Superintendent Libby this morning, and they already had their seed committee. But I'm gonna get the copy of the minutes and what they're going to be growing up there. But the hope is to get more in production locally so we can offset our food costs.
And
You also told me that they were gonna change, they were gonna pizza on Saturday nights. You talked about changing the menu.
Right, yeah, we did a food survey early January, mid-January. And as a result of the food survey, which is mostly positive, and as a result of going up to Grafton, Rob's working around and planning his meals a little bit different. We're going to have more of a lighter lunch in the afternoon, like what we would typically consume, you know, a sandwich or something along that line, and then have a heavier dinner meal, which is kind of just the opposite as opposed to what the nursing home residents get. They have a heavier noon meal and a lighter dinner.
Yeah.
But it's more, as I understand, it's a little bit more cost effective to do it the way we're going to
Oh, is that
project
right?
it. Mhm.
So there's a longer period of time between the heavy meal and when their next meal is, opposed to lunch and dinner. So it makes sense to have the heavy meal in the evening time. And right, that survey too also came out, Rob's also working on, he did change the menu up a little bit,
Mhm.
taking some of what they were actually looking for and some things out and adding some things in. So-
Did I hear there's a lot of waste? Over at the jail?
He has come down and has observed what doesn't really go well, and then with that observation, he's making some changes, like he's taking away, we used to do 3-bean salad, apparently that doesn't sit well, pickled beets, that doesn't sit well, so
Oh,
things
I
of the,
love pickled beets.
those,
It's not popular with
We
them.
get an orange suit, we get an orange suit that might fit you
Oh,
well. It gets
well,
done, you
I
might be
might
over
need
there, you
one.
know?
so those are the things that he's looking to change. He's coming down more frequently to see how the production is at the,
Mhm.
in the facility, and then monitoring that so he can make the appropriate changes.
How often does he get called as to the number of meals to be fed over there?
We call him 3 times a day.
3 times a day before every meal?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yep.
It's interesting, David, when the citrus crew out here tells you at noontime that they're amazed at the amount of waste, then there's gotta be some authenticity to it.
Yeah.
The kids say there's an awful lot of waste, and they're happy with it. You also want to tell them about the,
There's one thing, though, that cut down on the quantity versus changing the menu. Is the menu being, Rob must be approving this, that he's not going to be doing extra meals just for the jail, or is he?
Oh, he's part of the whole process.
But I mean, is he making one meal for the residents in a nursing home and then another meal for the residents in the jail?
I would say yes.
There are different dietary needs to begin with, and then, but it's not costing anymore, let's put it that way, so.
Okay. Go ahead.
and the last thing you want to tell them about is the reading program to the
The
children.
read a book program?
Yep.
We just started that, and we've got some positive feedback on that.
Hopefully that'll be in the paper too. It's read a book program is basically, the offenders can have a book brought in, children's book, and
Yep.
make sure it's approved as we look at it. Sergeant Phillips sits down with the offenders and can read the book onto either CD or another audio file, and then it's sent out to a family. It's for the children, so they can either have it on CD sent out to them, or you can email on a WAV file to them, depending which one works for their family.
Yeah.
I know Commissioner Babson talked to the guys at the farm, they were very ecstatic about it. There's one person already signed up to do it, and more coming down the road.
My wife does that with our granddaughter over in Switzerland. She just started that, and I told her that you guys are thinking about it, and she said, that's great.
Your wife in the women's section over here?
What?
Is your wife in the women's section over here?
I don't think so.
Oh, you mean she does it from home?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Gotta keep up with this guy.
You leave
Okay,
leave
you
yourself
got
wide
anything
open,
else?
Mr. Chairman.
She was
I
the one that signed up.
I just made a note here that I thought that, I didn't know whether you two others wanted to have a say or approve the idea of getting the federal forms done, or whether it was up to Jason, or, I have no problem with it, go for it.
Well, I think go ahead but I think the board would like to know how many inmates we're gonna be taking. And what the costs, what they're willing to pay.
Mhm.
Well, we haven't reached that point. I mean,
No,
it should
okay.
be, my question was, do you want them to go ahead and fill out the forms
Sure.
for the initial portion of it? I do.
I would support it. Asha?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Anything else you got?
No, that's it for the jail boys.
Did you
You
approve
got-
to do the seal or not do the seal?
Yeah, do you want-
Because it's finite amount of time if you want it done. But this offender that's done the two of them.
Do I hear the motion, do I hear a motion that we have our visitors at the House of Correction paint our emblem here on the wall?
I think that's premature. I think you two ought to go over and take a look at it and see if you like it before you vote on it.
Okay.
Might be another place to put it in this building other than in here, but the kid does a nice job.
After the meeting.
Okay. We'll take a look at it. We'll let you know.
Okay. Very good.
Anything else you got? How many inmates we got in
Oh.
today?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I had one other thing that I wanted to discuss and see if you two approve. You know, we get these habitual offenders over here that there's always another side to the story, as I finally discovered with the last young man that had the tail light out. He's over here for a year. He also was driving without a license, which he forgot to tell me to begin with. But
I can tell you everything.
we've got I don't know whether it's private or not, Jason, with the one that's over the hospital, you can tell them.
What's that?
The lady that's at the hospital.
She's back. She came back yesterday. We did have to send somebody out. She's scheduled to be released on administrative home confinement today. But because she was at the hospital for the past couple of days, we haven't been able to continue with our plan. So she's going to be in custody for the next few days. But she's in on habitual offender. There was a medical issue that we had to deal with, required hospitalization for a few days.
What I'd like to see if we could do, if these habitual offenders would volunteer to do it, was to set up some kind of a form, and so we can find out exactly what crimes they've committed with automobiles. As one of the young men says, I can go to school, it costs me $21, or $73, and he goes for I don't know how many hours, but he gets 3 credits off, and the next speeding ticket he gets is 4 or 5 points, so he's taking 1 step forward and 2 backwards. And I'd like to, it's so costly to keep these people in here for, it's one thing if they're a habitual offender and drunk driving and they put them over here, but to have a tail light out and us pay $120 a day for them, or $115, to me doesn't make much sense. And I'd like to see if we can't keep track of that, and maybe we can convince a legislator or two to talk to the Department of Motor Vehicles or put a law in to see if we can't come up with a probationary license from 8 to 5, so people can drive and go to work rather than have them housed here at $120 a day. I think
What would
we
you
should
do,
be-
put the vehicle on a bracelet?
No.
To know whether it's 8 to 5 or not?
Well, other states do it, and
Okay.
you get caught driving if it's 8 to 5, and you get caught driving at 10 o'clock at night. There's no question, you go right back here, but to have them so they can't go to work, and they're here, there's gotta be a compromise somewhere. This lady's in here as a habitual offender, and we've gotta have a guard over there 24 hours a day for 3 or 4 days and overtime.
You want to break out, we can break out how many people came in on just habitual offender last year. You want us to look into that and get you
Well,
that
there's
number?
that too, but maybe you can, if somebody comes in as a habitual offender and they've been there, it's a mandatory 1 year. If you get to know them a little bit, maybe we could convince them to give you a history of what caused them to get there. Or maybe you already have it with your
Right, we run
NSA equipment over there.
We have run a spots check on them, a criminal history check on it. which pulls their motor vehicle. I believe we can pull their motor vehicle history as well. I'll have to check with Sergeant Phillips because he's certified to run that stuff.
Would you do that?
Mhm.
I think it'd be worth finding out.
You do a criminal check on inmates?
Mhm. You have to, part of the
How-
classification.
Does that just go to the state, or does it go nationwide?
Goes nationwide.
Nationwide?
Mhm. It's part of their classification.
And a lot of places do it when they leave too, to make sure there's no active warrants. And you're leaving somebody in the community with an active warrant,
Right.
call up the PD, they're leaving, they'll come serve the warrant.
Mhm.
Yep.
Anyway, that's all I had.
Okay. I was thinking of another question to ask, but I can't remember it now. Okay. Ash, you have any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there, before you leave, there was a program on TV regarding veterans that are incarcerated. Is there any kind of a program? I can't remember now exactly what it was about, but I know it was veterans in jail. Is there anything special?
Friday, we have, at the superintendent's affiliate meeting, we have the Department of Veterans Affairs coming in to talk with us to
Okay.
establish a mutual a memorandum of agreement to basically give them our population report on a daily or weekly basis. And then from there, they can tell us how many veterans we have in our facility. And then they'll also establish like a re-entry program that they're looking at establishing.
Okay,
As
okay.
a trooper down in Concord is involved with the setting up some stuff with veterans, and it's reached out, I know that in Merrimack, and it's going farther, working out the veterans. I'll take it one step further, not just the offenders, the goal is next step to work with also officers who are veterans as well too. It's because there's a lot of resources that they don't know about either, offenders
Mhm.
and
Okay.
law enforcement. Yeah.
Jason, just roughly, do we have, over the past year, would have a lot of our inmates been veterans?
No, not really.
Very few,
Yeah,
right?
very few.
Mainly because they're too young?
What's that?
They're too young to be veterans? The
No, it's just
population?
our population. We have a number of staff that are veterans,
Yeah.
but our offender population, no, we don't have a lot of them.
Is it fair to say the older veterans, inmates, veterans, the veterans that are inmates are older than younger? 40 and older, or?
They're probably in the late 20s, early 30s, which I think according to, especially even according to our annual report, that's one of our higher populations.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. What did Cheryl bring up?
She brought up the bid packet
Oh,
right
yeah.
here that showed you where they went out for bid.
One, two, three, four. Is it 5 different companies it was sent to? Okay.
We do still have a non-public having to do with House of Corrections employees. If we could just take a few minutes to do that so that they would be able to leave after that.
I thought it was canceled.
We have non-public?
It's the other one that I talked to last night about.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna have to get back to the work session because we got more stuff to do.
Okay.
So we want to go into non-public for personnel under RSA 91A3 paragraph 2C,
Yes,
and that deals with the
House of Corrections personnel.
House of Corrections.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Can we have a roll call?
Commissioner Kenney?
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes,
Commissioner Babson?
Yes.
and so voted. So now we're in non-public. Public session.
Want to make a
You wanna-
comment about the minutes while we're
Yeah,
in
go
public
ahead.
session?
Go ahead.
No, you make it. Well, you made the motion to keep sealed the jail portion of those minutes and
Right.
to open up the rest.
Okay, you just said it.
Okay.
We opened up two different sets of minutes, which we will post on the webpage.
I thought it was the same set of minutes.
Hmm?
It was the same day.
Two sets from the same day,
Yeah, same day.
Two sets from January? Okay,
from
No,
February 5th.
I think it was February.
February 5th.
It was last week, or not?
Yeah.
okay.
And we
And
have
we
to-
sealed the minutes that we dealt with in this past session.
The only one we sealed was the jail
Was
Or
portion.
the
jail.
jail portion, okay. All right, moving on. We got a letter from Representative Algren regarding some questions regarding the old nursing home. Number one is, have there been any RFP responses to investing and occupying the front third or any kind of the core? The renovation of the kitchen as a commissary by a regional chain is extremely compelling. What's your answer to that one?
I'll tell you what my answer was when I wrote it. For the record, I wrote Representative Algren back yesterday, and I made it very clear at the beginning that it was just my opinion and not the opinion of the board, and I think I also said it at the end of the email. And my answer to number one was, we have had 2 delegation meetings, at which time the delegation was told that there was only expressed interest from Dottie Solomon's organization and the probation office.
Probation office.
But we've made arrangements for them to move to the jail,
Well,
or making arrangements.
we're making
Or considering
arrangements.
it, whatever, that's what I
Considering.
said.
Considering
But
that.
they, the implication was they were no longer interested in the
Right.
building.
Right. Okay.
The commissioner, regional chain, I don't know what he meant by that, but I answered it farther down.
Okay, so, Asha, you in agreement with that?
With what?
That we have not had any RFP responses with the exception of Dorothy Solomon's
Veterans group.
Veterans Group?
Yeah, well, her was not, her was just a proposal, what she submitted.
Oh, I also said the cooperative extension was
Still interested?
was interested, but didn't have the funding to do it. And
Okay.
since you people, I used to quote something like, since you people in the mothership cut their budget by 50%, I don't think there's gonna be money around to change things. Oh, I guess that,
Do you have this in writing?
you get it on my email downstairs.
Oh, okay.
Have there been any other, oh, you know what? I'll bet you, one of the commissioners recently got a Wi-Fi put in here, and I think maybe it might be an opportunity to use it. I think I can pull it up. But the cooperative extension was under number 2, I think. See if I can figure out how to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, I know how to do it. What am I talking about? Here we go.
Number 3, since the square footage is the same, would the veterans interim housing project be interested in the front third of the core in lieu of a corridor? We don't know that. We haven't seen their plan. Since there are 2 corridors, number 4, since there are 2 corridors that have no foreseen use, what is the cost-benefit analysis of the spring demolition of those two wings?
I got it if you'd like me to read it to you.
Go ahead.
Chris, I will attempt to answer your questions where I can. Please be aware that this is not the voice of the board, but mine and my opinion only. Number one, the request for proposal closed approximately mid-October, as I recall. The results were reported to the delegation at least twice. The responses were from the probation department and Dottie's homeless organization. The probation officer is in the process of working out a deal with the House of Corrections to move into a room there, a win-win situation. Dottie's group, as I'm sure you are aware, was given 18 months to come up with a proposal. Okay?
You don't want to say cooperative extension?
Well, no, that comes under number two.
Okay.
Because he asked,
Yep. go
has there
ahead.
been,
Yep, go ahead.
the only organization interested in the front third is the Cooperative Extension, and they don't have any money to fund a makeover. Your big organization, parentheses being the legislature, cut the funding to the mothership, so there isn't much hope that they'll be able to fund anything, let alone a new science lab or a dorm. However, I have been attempting to learn from how large of a bond we, as the county, could purchase for the equivalent of $45,000 for 20 years. Still in the hunting stages, working with the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation. I called them up to see their bond expert to see how much,
You did.
what we could
What are you
get
going
for a
to?
bond for that amount of money.
I think it's 350,000,
We'll
but,
find
okay.
out.
Go ahead.
Asked Dottie, and the answer was no for number three. Are the veterans interested in the front? And the answer
They're not?
You sat at the table over there when I asked her, and she said no. We were sitting there with a gentleman at lunch. And I said, would they be interested in using the front part of the core? And she said no, and she pulled out the architect's drawing. Weren't you there, or was that somebody else?
I wasn't there.
Well, she pulled out the drawing and said they've been working with an architect, and no, they weren't interested.
Okay.
4, we have not done a cost study on taking down the two wings now and two wings later. It makes more sense that you put money in the budget to A, hook up the pellet burner to the current heating system, and 2, you budget for hooking the laundry hot water heater into the system. We don't need to be heating with propane, and we would not have to rush our decision on removing any part of the old home. He was concerned about the cost between keeping the wings there and heating them versus if we took them down now. My answer was it makes more money to spend the money on hooking the heating system into our pellet, which are
Okay.
right there.
Yeah.
As you remember, the laundry wasn't hooked in, so
Yep.
they're using propane for the hot water.
Number 5?
Number 5, no need to do this. Vets have been working with an architect and they are not interested. The only people that want the front 1/3 is the Cooperative Extension, and the delegation doesn't seem to want to help make this a possibility.
Reserve the front third of the core for the veterans. Okay. What is the cost-benefit analysis of demolishing 3 corridors in the spring? Well, it's 75, it's 70, wasn't it $75,000 to do one wing?
No, it was like 99, wasn't it? What was it, 100 to do 2?
I
got it downstairs
We've got
anyway.
it anyway. Okay.
Want me to read the rest of
But
it?
the problem, there's a footnote in there, and if they find asbestos, it's an additional
Additional cost.
$14,000 or $15,000 per wing.
Yep.
What else you got?
Well, this is where I go off on my own rant.
Ah,
I honestly believe that it's the job of the nursing home subcommittee to do the research and get the estimates, since they are charged with budgeting the project. This is probably not a popular thought. Returning to number 4, it makes no sense at all that we are heating hot water with propane to do the laundry when we have a 1,000,000+ BTU burner available within feet of the laundry room, or that we could be tie into the existing system and keep the old home at a very low temperature for the winter without burning expensive propane. Why the laundry hookup was not done when the new nursing home was built is a question better directed to you and the delegation that neglected to fund the hookup. The old kitchen. I would suggest that somebody during a lunch break in Concord go to the Department of Agriculture and engage the commissioner and see if she is interested in setting up a commercial kitchen to be used by local producers who have outgrown their home kitchens. About the time you were first elected, the Department of Agriculture had 2 commercial kitchens fully staffed for rent. One was opened in Littleton and didn't last long. One was opened in Epsom or Epping and was available for a couple of 3 years. Times have changed and there is a great growth and interest in locally grown. It could make sense that the department try the experiment again, mainly because the Homestead Act currently only applies to non-hazardous foods with sales of less than $10K. This is worth a look-see. I hope this information is helpful, and again, it's only my opinion and not that of the majority of the board.
Okay. Well, I agree with basically what you said. Asha, where are you coming from on this?
Well, I have to read it and think about it.
You have to think about it?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
If you added probation here, so there was another request.
Yeah, you crossed that out.
Who's not coming
because-
anymore?
Because probation may be going into the jail.
Oh.
They were interested, I talked with him, they were interested in the front third of the nursing home. If it can be worked out that they would go into the jail, then they would not be interested in the front third,
Okay.
okay? What else do we
So,
need to do?
Mr. Chairman, we better respond as a board or accept what I sent to him or whatever, but again, we received this thing on January 28th. It's 2 weeks ago to sit here and say we haven't done anything yet. This kind of stuff should get done when it comes in here.
All right, you make a copy of your
Yeah, I just
remarks?
need to
I don't know
read
how
the
to do it
response
from
again.
my iPad, but I'll try to figure it
All
out.
right,
Well, I
Well,
guess
basically, I
I
agree.
could send it to somebody, they can print it out. That's what I can do
Send it to
downstairs.
Cheryl and she
Yeah,
can
send it to Cheryl, she prints it out.
all right. Anything else to be brought up?
Yes.
I thought
Go
that we
ahead.
have to do the minutes or not. Would we have to do the minutes?
Minutes? You had a chance to read them, right?
Yeah.
Are we supposed to call
They
Clausen at
brought it.
11?
No, he's supposed to be here,
Oh, okay.
because he's coming,
He's coming in.
yeah. Oh, I know, yeah. Go ahead.
So I just received the February 5th minutes. Cheryl brought it up for me. And I didn't watch the video, so what I remember from last week, I made a statement in the beginning that I said I stand by my non-public minutes of January 8, 2014, that it is accurate. I don't see it anywhere in.
That was done in
It was
non-public.
done in non-public.
No, I made a statement in the public session last week.
Well, where did you make it?
I
Go
don't
watch the
think,
video.
you did it in non-public, I know.
No, public session.
Well, that's easy enough. If you did it in the very
I did it in
beginning, you can go home and watch the video and come back in next week and tell us where it is.
Oh, so we're going to table it then? You don't want to do the minutes now?
Well,
Well, why don't you come back next week and tell us where in the
okay.
public video where it is?
yeah.
Okay, and what do you want me to do? I have 3 corrections.
What do you got
If
for
you have real
corrections?
corrections, give them to me.
Yep.
I also said that a minute taker has electronic copies on her personal computer. I don't see it in there.
Where would you like it?
That's when
You
I
did,
said that.
you did say that.
And it's something in here, somewhere in here I read that Commissioner Kenney complained that she took the computer home. So that's,
Well,
Is that in public or non-public?
No, I think that was in public. Let's see what I'm doing.
And I have the 3rd one, at the end, it's the last page. You talk about I think the commissioners, they say they received a recommendation from attorney. I think he made that statement at a delegation meeting. But I believe what he said last week, that he had an appointment with an attorney February 7 at 3 o'clock in Freiburg, Maine. I don't think he made that statement there, what you have there in.
Where are you on these
I
minutes,
think he's
Commissioner?
on 29A.
Page 6.
So what do you want to change it to?
What he said.
Well, first of all, where are we talking to on page 6?
Page 6 at the end,
Stream
all
of
the way.
consciousness edits, it's impossible for me to put them in. You need to tell me exactly what you want to
At the
take out.
end, here.
Yeah,
So you see that, page 6 at the end?
yeah.
That is
Under-
what his statement was and not what you wrote there.
I can't read that.
Under RSA,
I can't read that. What does it say?
Here, you said that he and Commissioner Babson had received a recommendation from an attorney.
For an attorney.
Yeah, well, that is what you said.
to represent them individually in
Yeah,
the
I don't
pending
think that you
91A
said
lawsuit.
that. I don't think that you said that last week.
I said that.
You probably said that at a delegation meeting, I believe.
No,
That you
he re-
mentioned
no,
that.
He repeated it, I think.
Well, anyway, he said that he had an appointment with an attorney
Yes.
at 3 o'clock in Freiburg,
Well, why
Maine,
does it matter what
February
time it
7th.
is and where it's
No,
located?
well, it's matter because that was his statement.
They're not verbatim minutes.
Yeah,
Are
but
we gonna
listen.
have this
Okay.
conversation?
What
What
Listen,
difference,
this-
what
this
difference
needs-
is
this
it?
needs to
Enough
be
of this,
in.
enough of it.
Hold it. Kenny, Commissioner Kenny, what would you like to do?
That is the statement what you make, that you reported that you had an appointment at 3 o'clock, February 7, with an attorney in Freiburg, Maine.
Yeah,
That is
so,
what you said,
all right,
but it
but
is not in.
it says whom they intended to see shortly. What,
No, no,
Why
you
do you have-
already had an appointment, that is what you said, you're going to Freiburg, Maine. And this statement, I don't know if you repeated, she said that you repeated it, I thought that you said it at a delegation.
it's public information, and I did say it
Yeah,
at
you
the
said it at a
delegation.
delegation meeting,
Yeah,
yes.
said it both places.
But she,
Yep.
right now, I don't know if you said it in both places, but that is what your statement was.
All right,
That's
could you
it.
just,
Just 3 little corrections, that is what I have.
But none of those corrections are actionable. I can't do stream of consciousness corrections.
You know what? These are commissioner meeting minutes. Those are not your minutes.
All right,
And
we've
if
had
I-
enough,
And if I
enough,
ask you
enough,
something
enough.
and that is a
All right,
statement, that
okay.
needs to
Stop
be
it,
in.
David, or recess it. We've had enough
No,
of
but
this.
that is not her
let's not,
minutes,
let's
that
not
is wrong.
argue. Let's
I
not-
also got an email from her that she said she decide what's going to be in the minutes.
Recess.
And she cannot decide what goes in the minutes. You don't have that authority.
You're right. We correct the minutes as she has typed them. And so that's why we're looking at correcting the minutes right now.
Well, I make my corrections and I had 3. And she's, every time when I
Okay.
have something in, she
Go over-
argue,
Let's go over them
and it
again.
is already
Let's go
one-sided.
over them once more. What were your corrections?
I said, I stand by
What
my,
page are we?
that was in the beginning from the meeting.
Page 3?
Yeah,
Okay. What is it you want to say?
I already said it.
Well,
That,
would you say it again, please?
I said, I stand by my non-public minutes
Where
of
do you want
January
it-
8,
Where would you like
2000.
that inserted?
Where do you want to put it?
You need to tell me exactly what you want and where you want it. You can't say somewhere on
Okay,
page 3 I
okay.
said this. It's just, I
I
can't
didn't
word
say
that.
somewhere on page
David,
3.
you're better off
Okay,
recessing
so-
this meeting. People cool down.
By the work session,
What page are you on?
work session 4, she wanted to know where I
Page
put it
4?
in. I believe I put it by the work session. I make that statement, I can go back and watch the video where precisely where it was
Where do
in.
you want to put it?
I believe I said it when we had a work session that I make the statement.
All right, what's the
Or
statement?
it can be by commissioner's report if we had a report.
What was it? You stand by your,
The statement what I make, yeah, I just repeated it for the second time.
all right, let me read. Commissioner Kenny,
Yeah, I said I stand by my non-public
Said
minutes of January 8, 2013.
she
That is accurate.
stands by her minutes of January 8th, non-public. Okay.
Yeah, and the minute taker has electronic copies on a personal
Where is that?
computer.
Where do you want that?
What is the part we're talking about, the minute taker?
I think you said it non-public, but.
No, I didn't.
Actually, I
said
think it was
at-
at the previous meeting. Might have been. I'm not even sure it was this meeting.
All right.
And Santa.
What was the other correction you wanted?
What you said, that Commissioner Sorensen reported he has an appointment at 3 o'clock, February 7th, with Attorney Freiberg me.
Do you want that in?
That is what he said, yes.
Why don't we put in, I was 20 minutes late.
Would you go back, Michelle, and look at the film to see if Commissioner Kenney said that you have it on your computer? I think it was done in non-public. Would you check it out, see if it was
No,
done in
I
public?
thought, no, I talk about the minutes, how the non-public minutes were done, that she was
But you don't know
taking
where you
it
did it.
home. That is when I said, I will go check the video today.
All right, we'll table these until next week.
Okay?
Okay?
Yep.
Anything else to be brought up?
Yeah, I've got some more to bring up, but we've got the claw
Okay.
here, so let's get him going.
All right. Tom, does Wynette know you are here?
She does. Want me to go get her? You ready for us?
Yes, please. Yep.
Okay.
Before we forget it, we now have a safe to hold the minutes.
The
Um,
non-public.
We need, huh?
You said minutes, the non-public, I said, for the safe.
Yeah. We need an inventory and we need a sign-up sheet. An inventory of all the minutes that are in there. And we'll have a sign-up sheet, so when anybody goes into the safe to make a copy of something, that they sign a sheet saying this is what they've done.
But the non-public minutes cannot leave the safe.
That's right.
If we want to review it.
Can't leave the building.
We're gonna review it, and you say that we're going into non-public session and we're going to review it. So it needs to stay there
No.
in the safe.
Sheriff, do you still want non-public?
Are they all coming in non-public?
It's all for the same purpose.
Oh, okay, all right, gotcha. Thank you. I didn't see it on here, so.
Come on up.
All right, we gotta go into non-public though.
I'll make a motion, we go into non-public session.
For
For the-
attorney-client privilege,
uh,
for union,
Or discussion of collective bargaining strategy.
for a discussion of collective bargaining discussions, for the purpose of collective bargaining discussions.
second it. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Kenney?
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Babson?
Yes.
Okay.
Which 91A stipulation was that?
91A would be
Union.
union contracts, what we're talking about.
91A2, paragraph 1B.
Okay.
I'll amend my motion to put that in it.
I don't think have we got anything else to discuss after this non-public?
I've got some work session stuff we gotta do.
I thought we already did work sessions.
What else you got?
Well, it's non-public, we'll go back into public and we'll talk about it.
Okay. Something else you want to bring
I
up?
get two or three things. Oh, we should have asked the sheriff about his, well, that wasn't non-public. One thing, Last week, Commissioner Kenney, I'm not sure, but I think I heard you say that the IT contract for Cybertron was $102,000 or $103,000, and that we paid them $194,000. Did I hear you correctly?
Yes, because Representative Cordelli brought it up. I believe he went to, there was first the IT meeting, and he met there, and I don't know if you look in the documents, whatever, and he brought it up at a meeting, and he said we need to look at a contract, because it was paid $194,000 to pay out of 2013, but a contract is actually, I believe, 101 or 102,000. He brought it up, he went to the IT meeting, so I actually brought up again what he said.
I see.
I don't think we paid Cybertron though,
How
$194,000.
does he come there on the numbers? He went to the IT meeting and he had
I
documentation.
think we paid the companies where we got the equipment from, the difference between the contract and the 194.
I
I
will
guess
ask,
we need to check that out.
I will
somewhere.
ask him if he can give me what he has, those papers, how he added it all up.
Well, we'll have to do that because the delegation, we're going to give that to the subcommittee of the IT.
Well, there's something definitely wrong, because we paid Cybertron last year $102,000. Part of his contract is replacement parts. He replaces at his cost. Commissioner Kenney had said he's playing games because he's calling replacement parts upgrades, and we're getting paid for it, and she said $194,000.
Yes, well, I asked a couple of times, what is he replacing, and if I can see the list, and he said it was too much work. He cannot give me the list, and he is just replacing it. But
you
every
fin-
time we're paying
Did you
for
finish
all
your
the
comment?
parts, and when I asked him, why are we paying for those parts, he said, oh, it is an upgrade. I don't know what he is replacing out of his pockets. And that is that we never had an independent company coming in and said, this is what you have, this needs to replace, this needs to be done this way. He is doing everything on his own, what he wants to replace. What are replacement parts? It's never defined. He never told us what needs to replace, and this is a replacement part. I don't know what he's doing, and nobody knows, because nobody was allowed to see the network.
Let's,
So you can only look at the bills, and then I can go to another company, IT company or advisor, and I said, this is what we get, and then they tell me, you know what, those are all replacement parts, so it fall under your contract. But I said, we keep on paying for
All right,
it.
let's-
That's the only thing what I can do.
let's let Commissioner Babson finish his.
So we paid him $102,000 last year for his contractual agreement, $8,500 a month. We also paid him $16,000 for upgrades to one company, and then there were two other companies that we paid somewhere around $2,000 between the two of them, TechSoup and CWG. So it would appear to me that we have paid Mr. Cybertron, John Rich, approximately $118,000 over the
2013?
yes. And for someone to come in here and insinuate that we've paid him $194,000, that's $72,000 off. And I'd like to know, all of these people that are making these charges, where they're getting their information, because if it would appear to me that someone was saying he's getting a kickback, or he's acting as a commission, a salesman for him, or something, if they're trying to say he's getting more money. Here's what came out of our office, that's what we paid, and that's what the figure should be, and any other thing, anybody that says anything more than that should come in here with paperwork and prove it again, or prove that that's exactly what he's doing, because I don't see it.
I want to share that with Commissioner Kenney, a copy of that, when you make a copy.
Sure. I'd like one of those back when you're done, Asha, because it's the only one I got.
So
Okay.
this is just a plan. Did you look at everything, what he purchase, all the purchases.
They're right on there, and he's got them marked, which are upgrades, and there's only about 6 of them, and they all say new computers.
It just said the surfaces, every month the surfaces, it lists.
The what?
But surfaces, it just said. So his contract is here, but,
It says computers right there. There's a couple others, if you ask him what they are, he'll tell you.
but all the parts that he purchased, you don't have it, I don't see it.
Well, his pot's included in his contract.
Parts that
Replacement
break
parts,
down, he
Replacement
replaces.
parts, okay. Do you know till today what he actually replaced in all these years? Do you know what he replaced?
For
What
pots?
difference does it make? It's in his contract.
Yeah, but, well, maybe he didn't replace anything.
Well, that's
Yeah,
okay, it's
that's-
still in his contract,
Yeah, well, where is the-
$102,000.
No, but if he purchased parts, what is a replacement? If you look at the bills, most of the stuff what he purchased and we pay for it are replacement parts. But I will check it out and I will ask Representative Cordelli. He went to the IT meeting, if you have any more information, how they arrived at the 194.
Bring in some documentation that would disprove what we are actually paying, okay?
Okay.
You got something else?
Yeah, we're billed directly, he buys a lot from Government Connections. And here is here's a copy, Asher, of the $16,000 that he's purchased from Government Connection.
Well, if you go to Saxo,
Well, the
like
Government
other
Connection
places,
has-
they are cheaper.
We're not talking about whether it's cheaper, we're talking about whether the figure is accurate. The other thing that, two things. Number one, we've come up with a pricing arrangement that should be beneficial with an auto parts place. So that's coming forward. And the sheriff has the opportunity to have a $150, $200 reduction on the purchase of vehicles if he does it before February 28th. And he wanted to know what I thought. I said, well, the problem is we haven't passed the budget, but I can't believe we're gonna cut deputy cars out of the budget since they gotta get from one place to the other. And so you people ought to talk to him and see whether you want him to go forward and make that purchase before we have a budget signed or not.
What was the date, the cutoff date?
I think it was February 28th, I believe he told me.
I think we're playing with something we shouldn't be playing with. We shouldn't be spending money if we haven't budgeted for it. And how many, it's gonna save us $200 per car, and how many cars? Like
I think
maybe
three.
3?
Yeah.
So that's $600 we're gonna save?
When was the last time you ever saw this delegation not give the sheriff a car? They won't give Will a truck, but they won't give sheriff, they give sheriff anything they want.
So none of the cars are good, what they have there?
Well, they're on a cycle. They change every 2 years, is it?
2 or 3 years, yeah. Anyway, he asked me about it, so you two want to talk to him about it so we can either vote next week and tell him to go ahead or vote no. And I'm sorry, I didn't think to ask him, but that was non-public.
Okay. Anything else?
Spyglass.
Yeah.
I just got a note here, that here is his number. I don't know whether he called back finally, or whether they're just giving me information where Mr. Fisher can be found. But I called Mr. Fisher, and I called his outside salesman in this area twice and haven't received any call back. I called Mr. Fisher, what's today, Wednesday? I must have called him last Friday, maybe on Monday. And that's either a call back or somebody giving me his number, and I'll call him up and find out.
Okay.
And the question with him is, if we don't make the savings that he's predicted, we ought to, what's in the contract to ensure us that we get something back out of the upfront payment?
Well, he should, I thought the agreement was he would take whatever the first year savings was.
That's right.
No
Let's
matter
say-
what it was, whether it was $7,500
That was
or
$7,500,
$6,000. That's what they would get.
No, his contract, or his agreement gives us a figure of $7,350,
I know it does, but I thought when we talked with him that it was
Adjustable?
based, no, it was based on what the savings would be the first year is what they would end up getting.
That's right, but what happens if it isn't $7,350, which he has on his contract that we owe him?
We don't sign a contract.
I thought that he said he's getting the first year, the savings, and we are getting the second and the third year, the savings. So if he's getting 7,500, we're getting the second and the third year, 7,500.
You're right, Asher, but I guess I'm not making my point. He's claiming that we're gonna save $7,350.
Yeah, I know.
And what happens if we don't save that?
That's why I
And he
thought-
wants the money up front. Do we get reimbursed, or does he get to keep all of this $7,350 when we didn't make the savings?
That's why I said we need to have a contract and it is included and that we are guarantee something for the taxpayers.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find out whether we get a.
I wonder if we can say a contract and say, okay, you're thinking we're gonna save $7,300. We'll give you $5,000 up front, and we'll make up the difference as to whatever the final savings is that first year. So we got some money up front, but we're not giving them the full amount.
We could do that. The other thing is, I called Bayring this morning, because they have a telephone line in here for something over the nursing home. And she wanted to know what my account number was. I said it was Carroll County, and that's all I knew. And she said, well, what is it? I said, it's Carroll County, and that's all I know. And so I didn't get very far, but I'll call them back and see if I get a different lady, and we can maybe have their salesperson come in and let us know what they think they could do for us on the telephone service.
Okay. Anything else?
Spyglass, okay, what about the file cabinet? The safe?
The safe, as soon as we can make the lock work on the safe, we'll transfer all the stuff out of her lock cabinets and put it in the safe.
Okay,
We gotta make sure that the safe lock, the combination works before we put
yeah,
anything
let's
in it.
not put anything in it,
You
then
said
lock
you
it.
already, you said you already have the
Yeah,
combination.
we do.
Didn't you check
We
it
haven't
out?
tried it yet.
Oh, well, you better try it then.
Yep.
Well, that's all I have.
Okay, from what I understand, Doc Star is coming to the subcommittee meeting of the administration building to explain what they're going to do. Hasn't gone out for bid, all they're coming in is to explain what they do and what they guarantee. So that's on hold.
So which subcommittee, the administration, is that next week?
Whenever their meeting is. What do you want to do with this quote from Minuteman Press? I think
Well, David, if the quote said it had to be here by yesterday,
yep,
I don't see that we have any choice to sit here and wait and see if something comes in the mail. If it came in,
yep.
that we have to do it. We either turn it down and go out for bid again. I don't think we want to do that.
No, I don't think we want to do that. Could I hear a motion that we award the annual report to Minuteman Press out of North Conway
Yeah, so
for a
moved.
total of $570.02?
Yeah, so moved.
Plus, if there's additional 4 pages, it increased by $25.
Okay, can you give me the numbers again? 527 and?
$570.02. Okay, you made the motion?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
You second it? All those in support of the motion, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, Mr. Rich just came in. We're gonna go into public input, or are we gonna answer his questions about the $194,000 that Mr. Cadelli's come up with?
Yeah.
John, come on up.
just finished a discussion about where the $72,000 over and above your billing has come from.
Okay.
Yes.
Take a look at that page right there. Commissioner Babson has gotten all the bills that we've paid in the year 2013, correct?
Yep.
And do you agree with those? Your contract was 102,000, I think.
Plus upgrades.
Correct. That seems to be correct. I
Okay.
mean, I'd have to verify 100%, but it looks
But the upgrades
Looks
are
accurate.
about 18,000 or 16,000?
correct. Some are upgrades, some are just software contracts for antivirus licenses, internet monitoring, things like that.
Okay.
So we have, looks like we have 4 new computers for the sheriff's department that are part of the $6,000. The Pearl monitoring, that is internet monitoring software for the nursing home. Server upgrade, that was labor to upgrade their servers last year, to install their new servers. 8 gig RAM upgrade, that was an additional, that was RAM that was added to Kathy Armstrong's computer over and above what she already had. Did not replace what she had, it was additional RAM. Spam filtering, that's software to filter spam from the email. And antivirus, again, that's antivirus software that's for the sheriff's department.
Most-
Software.
To go back, when you say spam filtering, almost everywhere it is free now, the companies don't charge. Are you charging anything there?
What company would that be?
A lot of IT companies now, they say it is free spam filtering.
If
They
you
don't charge.
have-
You
if
can
you-
download it.
If you have your internet, if you have your email through your internet provider and you have a home user, then yes, they would provide you with spam filtering as part of that. If you're a corporate entity, of which your email is a corporate email provider, you do not get that software for free. You have to
So
pay.
corporate, no? Okay, I will check onto that.
John, where do you think the difference of $70,000 come from?
I have no idea. I
And-
didn't provide
and
that
looking
number.
at that and the other sheet, the government purchase center, that should basically be added on to the figure there, right?
Well, that would be, if you wanted to come up with an IT expense, you would add these other purchases into an IT department.
But that should be, I think that's 18 on the single sheet somewhere in there.
15.
15, that should be added on to the 118 on the other one. That's not an explanation of the extra 16,000. That's in addition to.
It would be, what's on this sheet is in addition to what's on this
Yes.
sheet. That is correct.
So we're $50,000 away from 194,000.
But none of this was paid to my company. None of this
That's
was paid to my company.
true. I forgot that. That's right. That goes to government purchase. That's
You
right.
know, I search around and I find the best price for anything that this county purchases. My 2 main vendors are GovConnection and CDWG. And the vast majority of any hardware is purchased through those 2 companies. Occasionally, I'll use a vendor such as Newegg for small items because they can give me some very good pricing. And then we use TechSoup for a lot of our software purchases because they give very good pricing on that. So I always search and get the county the best pricing possible. And that's why the bulk of it is not sold through Cybertron, because I can't match most of their stuff.
So
Plain and simple.
do you think that those 2, I mean, we sign the checks to government, whatever it is. Adding those 2 together, do you think that the purchases from CGW or whatever you named and Broken Egg come anywhere near $50,000?
I don't believe so. I would have to go back and look, but I don't believe I spent anywhere near $50,000 last year on behalf of this county.
Okay, thank you. Well, we need an explanation to where Mr. Cadelli Commissioner Kenney says she
I
got the
don't-
figure from Mr. Cadell.
I get it from him. He went to a IT meeting and he reported and he came back that the total IT cost was
And you weren't at that
Well,
meeting, right?
I was not. Now, it's my understanding that the nursing home did buy new software last year, and I want to say that was actually near $50,000. I was not involved in the actual purchase of that software. I was
Who
heavily
was?
involved in the implementation of it, but I was not involved in the purchase of it.
Who was?
I would think Paula would have that information as to the actual cost.
Okay.
She could probably get you that figure.
So maybe his figure was 194,000 total for the IT commitment.
It could be
Campus.
IT in general, that might be pretty, that might be
would
pretty
make
close,
sense.
yeah.
That would make sense.
Have they
Yeah.
paid out on the new patient software over there?
Hmm?
The new patient software, remember Becky Mason made her presentation? Is it that great big
Is
package?
that new system that they went under for,
I forget the name of the company.
Net Solutions, that's what they implemented last year, and again, I wasn't part of the
This
purchase,
is the
but I would say.
gigantic upgrade, right?
So
Yeah.
that was
Exactly,
it.
right,
Okay.
and I would estimate that would be near that figure, so that,
That's
if you add that
what it is.
all in, it could get up to that number, absolutely.
I
Well,
will
what you're
ask.
looking at right there is 140
Right,
or more.
So you have 140. Is that a figure, what you said, that's accurate?
I
I will ask.
I have
don't
not
know.
researched the figures, so please don't quote me. This looks to be accurate off the top of my head. I'm not sure that we have all the vendors here, we'd have to go through vendor
No,
by
that's
vendor.
just government, that's just government.
That's just Gov Connection,
Yes.
so we would have to look at CDWG.
Well,
'cause
I
purchased-
asked her, and Kathy said there was only a couple of $1,000 for the others.
But if you're trying to get an accurate figure as to what was spent on IT system-wide, we would need to look at all these things. We would want to add in the Barracuda backup, the cloud subscription services, because we have 2 of those now, and that's for cloud backup. So that would fall under my IT department, and again, that goes right to Barracuda.
Would you check those out and come up with a total of what you have spent? Your contract, we know.
Mhm.
And then the other items, you had 2 other companies that may amount to a couple $1,000s. Would you check that out and come up with a figure for what was spent that you're knowledgeable about
Sure,
for 2013?
I'd be happy to.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that is the figure what I got, and I don't know how they arrive at it, what they added and what they don't add it, but
Mhm.
I will ask.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
You got anything else?
Nope.
No? All right.
A motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman?
I'm sure there's some things that we haven't covered. that we should-
Well, Forget 'em until next week.
12:41.
What's that?
12:41, he said
Yeah.
motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Oh,
Commissioner Bennett?
we are already adjourned now. Was it not that we're going to change something?
Huh? What's that?
I thought that we're going to have dates for the meetings now,
Oh, no.
the
not yet.
commissioners' meetings.
No, not, I don't think we're ready to do that yet.
Why?
Um,
We should have done at the beginning of 2014.
Would you mind including me in the
Okay,
conversation,
what what
folks?
she's talking about is, I mentioned about changing our meetings to every other week or once a month. No decision had been made, and she was just asking whether we're gonna do something like that. And I said, I think we need to look at what we cover each meeting and whether we should do that or not. Okay? All right. I will follow up on the Hales location.
Something's gotta be, David, that's just, I mean, yeah, they don't have any capital expenses, but I remember the price being, the elementary school or the high school, there was a big difference between the two.
Yes,
I
there
can't
was.
remember which one was which.
There's like 8,000 or so, 10,000 difference.
And it looks to me like it was the 10,000 or 8,000 bucks was for the or 15, I forget what it was. The elementary school was the cheaper.
Yes,
I
it was,
recall.
yep.
And so they've raised it $30,000 or $40,000.
If this figure is correct, I mean, I'll call them and find out.
Okay, what is it now? There was motion to adjourn. What, is it
Motion to
discussion now,
adjourn.
or I thought we were done?
I just said that I would call this gentleman, okay? So a motion to adjourn, and it's been seconded, I'll second
Yeah.
it. All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Wait a minute,
Oh,
What?
hold on.
no public input? I don't see any.
There's no.
Okay, now we can,
The camera.
the vote is aye,
Aye.
Aye.
so voted.